And speaker from a few weeks ago, Gideon.
Greetings all. So my name is Gideon. I'm the Soloman Fellow, UNC. Good to be back. Good to see all of you listed again. Thank you.
Thank you, welcome back, Eddie. And at this table, we have two fantastic guests from India that are visiting us. Would you gentlemen like to introduce yourselves?
Hello, everybody. Myself is Han. I came from Cape Town, South Africa. I'm part of the club of Cape Town. Very interesting to see you people here. Looking forward to the celebration. Thank you. And I would like to mention more about the United all the that we did next to you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rama. People all call me as Ram. I'm from India, even I have 8020 district. And I have been there as a tourist for a month. And 2 weeks back, I was from there and I stayed there for another 2 weeks. Very nice to meet you all. Which Rotary is a loving, it gives me a very pleasant surprise and interesting factor. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome, gentlemen. And it would be wonderful if we could get a photo. So if we have a minute to spare at the end of the meeting to come over to near where the flags are, get a quick group photo so these Rotarians can show their club. Okay. We have a very important guest up here at the front. It's always fun to have future Rotarians in our midst. Sorry, here.
Hi, this is Jack. And he's a rising senior level veteran.
Welcome back. We're going to hear from him in just a little bit about Iowa. So super excited about that. And I believe that's all of our guests we have. Yeah. Oh, these are our fantastic speakers, so they're going to get a big intro. Just a little. Thank you, Dan. Dimension Alliance of North Carolina, happy dollar, or not happy dollars. Any spare change you have, please place those in the bucket in the middle of the table. Thinking about a month, we're going to hear from Heather Cooper, who is a Raleigh Rotarian and is the executive director of Dimension Alliance of North Carolina. So excited about that. Time for happy dollars. We are missing Charlie Upshaw, so I'm going to ask Frank if you would mind doing happy dollars.
Let's do it. Who's got something for you? Come on. Anybody? Here we go.
Go Heels, baseball. Go Heels.
Go here. There we go. That's great. Come on over there.
Some of you guys may or may not know David Morris' son Zach, who's here today, but Zach is kind of a personal favorite of mine. Always has been. He's doing an awesome mission trip this summer, and I'd like to throw in $5 and maybe let him talk about his trip for a few seconds. You guys, yeah, and they got talk later.
Hello, everyone. My name is Zach. As Governor, very pleased to meet you. And yeah, I'm going on a mission trip in a few months. This is with Christian Vet Mission. My sister and along with a lot of other vets go to the Navajo Nation. They're in the New Mexico kind of area, and they don't have veterinary access. They have one vet for the whole nation. The nation is the size of West Virginia.
Wow.
So as you can imagine, they have their hands full. Along with that, their livestock is for them to survive. It's not like they have dogs and cats for pleasure. They have sheep and cattle for food. And going out there, we will be helping them with veterinary services, but we will also be helping them spiritually.
All right. Have a great trip. Thank you. Happy day, sir.
My youngest daughter, Ann, just graduated from Randolph-Macon College and back on continuing with BS in the nursing and started working in the office to be senior therapist.
Excellent. Congratulations. All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for the happy dollars. Zach, I believe our Vocational Leadership Service Award, if you're not familiar with that, I can fill you in. the recipient was somebody that worked with Mission Veterinary Services, so very neat. And then Mark, congratulations to your daughter. The nursing field, nurses are some of the most wonderful people, I think, in the universe. So thank you, and thank you in advance for her service to all of us. Upcoming meetings. So next week, we are not going to meet in observance of the Juneteenth holiday. Then we'll be back for our last meeting of the Rotary year. This is always a really fun meeting, so make sure you attend it. We recognize a lot of work that we've done with love, and then we celebrate the incoming board. So I know Eric Larson has a lot of really great plans for next year. The board members have a lot of great plans, so it'll be a great meeting. Then we're off for the July 4th week, so no meeting on July 1st. And then the first meeting, official meeting of the 24 to 25 Rotary year to celebrate the magic of Rotary theme will be a magician, Joel Gibbons, who is from the Raleigh area, and I believe he has a Rotary connection, right, Dad? Yeah. So that'll be fun. I think he's gonna do some magic tricks, so don't miss that meeting as well. District installation banquet, that's going to be on Thursday, June 27th. You have until June 18th to register on DAC TV, register and pay. I went last year, to last year's banquet, and then I went the year that, the Raleigh Rotary and the player was, installed. And it's a really great event. You get to meet Rotarians from all across the district. Definitely try to make it out, register and support Eric Larson as he's going to be our incoming president, Patty Rooney, PDG Patty Rooney, who's the incoming district foundation chair, and then past president Eric Stevens, who will be the incoming Area 9 assistant governor. So try to make it out and support those three great gentlemen, and it's a really fun event. So Tommy, raffle time. And then after Tommy, Keith Chaconi, Zach Forrest, Patty Rooney, and then Kevin Summers, you guys will be up for your reports. First, we have an exciting raffle.
Very good. Thank you very much, President Gary. You've got your raffle tickets. Pull them out, hold them tight. Here we go. I've got 8-800-3138. Anybody? 3138. David, did you check those companies? No. Oh. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you, congrats, thank you everybody who supported our raffle. So that course, would you like to join me up front? As he's making his way up front, I heard from Linda Monaghan that Bill Landon has been moved to a full-time assisted living. You don't have any details really on it. He's accepting visitors, but we should have more details about that. So he probably won't be making it, unfortunately, to any more meetings, but keep him in your thoughts on prayers. So, not further ado, love to pass the mic to Zach Forrest to talk about this year's bridal conference.
Hello, everyone. As I sort of introduced myself earlier, I'm Zachary Forrest. If you all don't know, I am a rising senior, which is weird to say, at Millbrook High School this coming year. And through the April 5th through 7th this past year, I went to RILA. And if you don't know what RILA is, it's a Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. There were a few key things about this. First, to give some context. People from all over the district, all over the area came to RILA, all my age, along with some leaders, and participated in some activities, learned a lot, and personally, I got a lot from it. But there are three main things I got out of it. First, about the people. Second, we did a course. And third, we did a training. Firstly, the new people. Some people I didn't know. Up there, you see on the right, that's my friend Frank. We go to school together, and there were also some people who went to also in the school. But as a whole, I barely knew anyone going there. Even our driver, Mr. Watkins, I not met till that day. But there's something so interesting and fun about it, where we went to the camp, we were assigned groups. I didn't know anyone in my group. I don't know anyone who didn't know anyone in their group. And yet through that, we were able to network and gain relationships very quickly, way quicker than you would imagine. And that's the first thing that's really significant about this is often, especially with my generation, we're not really thrown in these social scenarios very much. There's normally a very easy out, through our phone or some other medium, but through this, our phones are taken away. We just had to talk, and I actually really enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. It also showed our adaptability and being able to join new groups of people. One thing we did, if you don't know anything about Camp Oak Hill, they have a ropes course. And it's a ropes course, but there's also some physical challenges that are not just involved ropes. Firstly, as you can imagine, there's a truss fall. And it's an elevated truss fall, it's a platform about this high. And one of our members gets up there, of our small team we have, and falls back and everyone else catches it. Another one we had was an island activity, where there was also platforms, wood platforms on the ground. And some were larger than others, some were smaller than others. But we all had to fit on one, and then we had to use planks to get to others. And then finally, there was one very cool one, the wall. The wall, I can't measure very well, but it was at least twice my height, 12, 13 feet. And it was slick wood that was sanded down. And at the very top, there's Rotarian. And on the other side, there's a ladder where you can get up to the platform up there. And what we had to do is just using us, some high schoolers, we had to climb up this 12, 13-foot wall. And being one of the two bigger guys there, I looked over and said, it's time to shine. And we got some people up, and eventually we were able to make everyone up. I say all this, but we ask, why is this significant? Why is this noteworthy? First of all, there needs to be communication. There needs to be some established leader. Going through these tasks, everyone has input, but ultimately there needs to be someone to say, hey, you go here, and this is how we get up the wall. Something else too, I don't find heights very fearful, but a lot of people do. So going up the wall and going up the truss wall, a lot of people overcame these fears that not normally are addressed. Something that really stuck out to me is that these courses were designed for a team. In life, normally, especially as a student, we think, how do I do this? How do I get this done? Or for the course, you can't ask that question. It is, how do we get this done? There is no, how do I get this done? Because you can't get it done. Everyone needs to get it done. And finally, we had a test. Raise your hand if you've ever taken a Myers-Briggs test. So that's the ENTJ, ABC, yeah, exactly. So that's what we took. Although, raise your hand if you've taken hours of it. That's what we did. Our very first day, honestly, we weren't really expecting this when we arrived. We took a 4 to 5 hour course on Myers-Briggs, personality, that sort of thing. That was very interesting and very fun. There's a short lady who walked up, who led us. She had a very loud voice, a very strong Southern accent, so as you can imagine, we were listening very intently. And she walked us through all those processes. Going in, I thought, I think I got this down. I've taken the test a few times. I'm ENTJ, I know that very firmly. And so I took the test, submitted it, all that. Turns out, I got ESTJ, not ENTJ. And that kind of shocked me. I thought I knew who I was. This confusion was further exacerbated as she called on us as extroverts and introverts. She went up to the front and said, can I have 20 extroverts? Immediately 40 hands shot up and 20 people came up. And then she said, can I have introverts? And a few hands raised, and then eventually she got 20. The introverts were put on the stage, and me, along with other extroverts, were put out into the hallway. And she said, discuss what it's like to be an extrovert. As you can imagine, we got out there, we talked, and someone had to come tell us to not talk so loud. And then later on, we hear from the conference room that there's some clapping, and then someone lets us in. All the introverts are now down in the audience, and we're up on the stage. So we're wondering what's going on, what's happening. We're each given a little cloth, and everyone else grabs another cloth. And what eventually ends up happening is we're all just a convoluted assortment of people and cloth, all holding by one hand on each. And so she said, unravel yourself. Immediately there was people talking, immediately we got over the hurdles and did everything we needed to and got it done. Then we sat in the audience and we thought, oh, we did pretty good. And then later on, she asked the audience, what did you notice the difference? They said the introverts, while they didn't talk as much more deliberate with what they said. And the extroverts also had a first time, but they seemed to have a little bit of fun doing it. This was very significant to me, this experience. And the first reason for that is I kind of learned something about myself. I learned that I'm not maybe a visionary, but I'm more so a thinker from that letter difference I mentioned earlier. And I also learned what to look for in different people. At this point, we had established our team, but this gave us opportunity to better dive into why they behave that way and what was impactful about my behaving of them. There's also a little personal lesson I learned myself, especially being more extroverted. The goal of being extroverted was to help introverts talk more, because ultimately they're thinking in their head and we're blocking with their mouth. Overall, I had a really good experience at Raleigh. I really enjoyed it. I made some friends who are still in contact with us today. We have a group chat and was actually just texted a few days ago. I really enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, we have peer counselors. If you don't know what those are, is at Raleigh, it's for juniors only. But then once you become a senior, you can be a counselor. And that's what I'm going to do next year. So I'm very excited about that, to get back to that. And I do want to thank our Raleigh leaders, not just the peer staff, but also like Dr. Watkins, who sacrificed their time to drive us there and to get everything done. And then I'd also like to thank all y'all Rotarians as well. Without you Rotarians, there is no organization, there is no ability to get this done. And I really appreciate everything is contributed. So, thank you.
Hey, y'all, hopefully y'all really enjoyed the presentation that you just heard. And that you're able to just burn into your memory banks this young man's face and what he said, because he is definitely destined for greatness. One of the things that I really admire about Zach is when we were riding up there, people were talking about their interests, this, that, and the third. Zach said, I want to be a great public speaker. Now, that spoke to me because I love talking. There is nothing that I find more attractive than the microphone. It's amazing, right? And Zach not only said that he wanted to be a great public speaker, but he was willing to put forth the effort to being a better public speaker. He then went on and said he participates in Toastmasters. And then asked, Dr. Watkins, you like speaking. I've heard from my father that you like speaking. Is there any way that I can see some of your speeches? And not only did he go on LinkedIn and watch some of my speeches, but he did the critical, most responsible thing that anyone who uses social media must commit to doing. He liked my content. He liked my content, and it also stated on other posts that I've been waiting a long time for this speech to come out. So that was incredible. And I just think all of those things that I just described, and hopefully you witnessed them here today, for all the foundational pieces that goes into making an amazing public servant, an amazing leader, and something that someone you'll see down the road, you'll say to your significant other or yourself, oh, I remember him speaking at Rotary when he was just in high school. So please join me just one more time and give Zach Morris another big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you so much, Zach, for coming to talk to us. You definitely are destined for greatness, and really appreciate you coming and sharing with us. And I don't know that you'll be back around the next year. Great. All right, Beach Economy, I believe you are next up. Oh, Patty, Paul Ferris.
Zach, I took the last rings a number of times. But my results are very confidential and top secret. That's not what they are. Thanks very much for the presentation. It's a real joy to have I guess from India here today, because in 2019, late 2019, 2020, I was invited to India to guest of two districts in the western part of the state, including Kolkata, where I presented a couple of presentations. So it was a real joy to be there. But part of the time when I was there, part of the time when I was there, I got to make some visits, and so and part of them was the ability to see some projects that are being done around the district province, including what we call Washington School. You can see coming in as that is because many of the areas did not have water at home, and so they relied on the school to be able to bathe properly and to be able to use the toilets. And so this is two of the projects that were adapted then for those particular provinces. Some people make real efforts for these projects throughout the world, and you would ask Peter, because Peter is being awarded today not only in Paul Harris Cluster 2, as a supporter of the Rotary Foundation and showing the public the commitment to be able to make our projects like this water in schools program work. So Peter, I want to thank you on behalf of the Rotary Foundation, on behalf of our district, on behalf of our contribution and support you give for the Rotary Foundation. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Chief Patty, and congratulations, Pete. Thank you for your support of the Rotary International Foundation. And he's getting his photo taken real quick, and then I'm going to ask you to come up front and talk about the golf tournament.
All right. So it's the only picture we ended up with.
I know.
So yeah, the Rotary, or Old Dominion Golf Tournament was last Monday at the Greater Downs Country Club. We had two teams, Tom Packer's team had John Connell, Braxton Wilson, and Michelle Stewart, and our team was Tom Holder, Mark McLeod, and John Luke. John Cage was supposed to play, but he had to bow out, and unfortunately, Tom Holder was able to step in for him. Neither of our teams did particularly well, respectable. One good thing, I ended up getting closest to the pin, but unfortunately for Mark McLeod, it was about this much closer than he was. So they took that away from him. I fell over that. Anyway, it ended up being a really good day. It was a completely booked event. They had every spot filled that they allocated. So I think it was a success from the fundraising standpoint. So it was a great day. And sorry for not more pictures. A bunch of guys out there, we didn't really think about it until the end. There's your picture. So there we go. There's that.
Thank you so much for organizing, and that's definitely typical, no pictures. That has some great pictures.
We'll do it again next year, and I promise we'll get more pictures.
Also, Mark McLeod, a newer member, Mark McLeod, and Michelle Stewart went to the golf tournament, so it was really exciting to see some newer members participating. Thank you guys. And John Connell was there. I don't know if you saw his name. We've been seeing him at club meetings. He resigned, but I heard that he might be coming back, according to Tom Holder. So, John Connell, send him an email, say you've been missing him, and you can't wait to see him at a meeting. All right, Kevin Summers. And it is 90-some degrees out, or has been. So nobody's thinking about bell ringing, but he has some exciting news about bell ringing numbers.
Well, I apologize on behalf of the Salvation Army. They had some glitches with switching their accounting system. So it really took me a while to get the details, but I'm happy to share that we as a club retained the Rotary bell again this year.
All right.
Thanks to some generous individual donations, in addition to what we raised bringing the bell, we raised almost $24,000. That's a record for this club. The next closest club was the Cary Rotary Club. Thank you. They were about half that, 12,000. So it wasn't even close. But I'd like to, some statistics that I really want to dig into. The best day we had out there, the single day, in ringing the bell is a group on December 23rd. That was Christmas Eve this year. So that was the family. And I want to recognize them. They raised almost $1,000 in one day, working 6 hours. That included families, Jim Graham was out there, Mark Hackett and his family, my family was out there, Kathy Stewart, her family, and Braxton Wilson. We're kind of the regulars on Christmas Eve. We spend about 3 hours out there, each family, just having a great time, and it's a very giving day to be out there. The other day I thought was interesting, the most, because we also staff both doors. In the single door, on Wednesday, November 29th, I don't know why that day would have been special, but we raised the most money of any single day. The ringers included, well, hats off to John Pace, Rick Elmore, Scott Hensley, Shakima, Bill McCorrin, Randy, Tom Packer, Bill Rohr, yours truly, Scott Stroud, and Charlie Elshire. So I guess those people must really do a good job at that. Anyway, thank you very much, and can't wait to see you guys out there this December.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for heading up this project this year. And if you didn't see, Tom brought up the giant bell that we get to keep for another year. We'll keep it during the 24 through 25 year as well. No. Also, Kevin, I appreciate that you were talking about holidays in your Dominican Republic tropical shirt. Great. So thank you again for all your hard work on that project. Membership Harrison is not here this week. He is still looking for mentors for new members. So if you're interested in doing that, that would entail meeting up occasionally with new members and just talking about Rotary and making sure that they feel plugged in. It'll be a great way to make sure our newer members really get involved in the club. So send them an email if you're interested. And then our service social is going to be at Killjoy on June 27th. Linda, we might hold on to service social because that's the night of the district installation banquet. So just keep your eye out for news on that. So with that, I think we just have 2 birthdays this week. And Mullen is on the 13th and Corey Hughes on the 17th. So happy birthday to both of them. Okay, without further ado, I am very excited to introduce Pamela Blizzard, Raleigh Rotary Pamela Blizzard, who's going to come up and she's going to talk about Dr. Soloman, and they're both going to tag team the presentation today. And Pamela's told me a little bit about this project. It's fascinating. Some things I didn't even know about Ethiopia. But before she comes up here, I want to read a little bit about her background. So Pamela was born in Los Angeles, California. She lived there until she was about 12 before moving to Southeast Asia and growing up basically in the Philippines, Thailand, and Taiwan. And then she moved back to the States, went to school in Rhode Island, and then made her way to North Carolina. She is currently the board chair for Girls Make Games and the executive board chair for Raleigh Little Theater. No, Theater in the Park. No. Yeah, Burning Coal Theater. Thank you. She has founded numerous nonprofits and has 10 years of experience as a board member for various nonprofit organizations. She joined Rotary in 2017 in RTP Club before joining the Southeast Raleigh Club, and we are honored and blessed to have her now in the Raleigh Club. She has 2 grown sons that live out in California. Her husband and her sons and her lived in North Raleigh for many years, but her husband and she now live in downtown Raleigh, where she's enjoying picking up oil painting again. She said her apartment has beautiful lighting and she's picking up a hobby that she has not done in a while. So please join me in welcoming Pamela up to the podium.
Well, thank you, Carrie. That was an interesting introduction. I'm going to introduce Dr. Soloman. I'll say a couple of things about his background and then talk about how we got working together. He is a professor, tenured associate professor at North Carolina Central University, and I think normally if we ask who attended NCCU, we have a couple of attorneys who got their law degrees there, not more. So it's a very well-known university in Durham. He's the coordinator of math and comprehensive science secondary education, in the Department of Math and Physics. So when they need, mathematics teachers, if they don't have history, they don't have a statistics professor, he gets to jump in and teach statistics, because he thinks that's fun. He does a lot internationally. Every once in a while, he will tell me he's a member of this organization or that, and the founding members of an organization that we're now working with on this project. And he does a lot of non-governmental work with his home country, Ethiopia. He's originally from, this is a fun story. He's originally from Tigray, the provincial region, the state kind of entity of Tigray, northern Ethiopia. And he came over as an exchange student and was living in a town outside of Chicago. Yeah, Woodstock. And he lived on a farm, and eventually from there he went on to, he went to Warren Wilson College. So he was a farmer kind of guy back in the day. He swears it was a good be. And then went on to NC State, for his master's in mathematics education, and then PhD in applied math and operations research. I had to take operations research in business school, and I keep meaning to pin him down and ask him what that subject is about, because I still haven't clue. But the fun story about him being in Woodstock was that I thought about it a couple of months, and then I said, I think I have a friend who's from Woodstock. And I called her up, and she said, oh yeah, I remember I met that African boy when he was 16. And I'm my friend's farm. So he's a long deep ties. So he stayed in the United States starting from there. But the other fun part of that is he and I met. I was the manager director at Research Level High School out in Raleigh. And one day, one of the staff people comes over and says, there's this professor from NC Central who wants to talk to us. I said, okay, and I took the call, and he said that he wanted to, he was sponsoring and helping a high school in Palomino, in the northern part of Tigray, and wanted to do some kind of project with us based on computers. So since Research Triangle High School is based on digital learning, we have our whole curriculum that is on the internet, and I thought, well, this will be great. We can share that curriculum, and then the students can do a project together. Us in RTP and them in Ethiopia. We got $10,000 from their crop science to do this project based on agriculture in the area, and launched into it, and it proved very difficult. They really don't have much internet access in Ethiopia, and it has not changed. That was probably 2016, 2017. So ultimately, the teachers kind of put their foot down and said, we can't work with people who don't have internet. We can't communicate, our calls keep dropping, and it's really impossible. So the IT department stepped in and said, okay, well, we will, we're rolling over all the Wi-Fi access points in the building, and the computers here roll over for 3 years. So we will give those things, including some switches in the server. And we ended up delivering 2 pallets of internet access equipment to this high school. So the sad part of the story is that for complex reasons and very unpleasant reasons, the current prime minister of Ethiopia, when he was elected, decided that a good way to build support in his country would be to sort of turn all of the other regional territories against the territory of Tigray and invaded the country. And from November 2020 for about 2 years, almost November of 2024, 22, they were invaded as a province, and about 1 million people were killed, including students, teachers, and parents. Obviously, a lot of people, several million people fled into Sudan, which I cannot imagine. Is basically getting, Tigray is a beautiful place. I've never heard anyone say Sudan is a beautiful place. Maybe it is. It's certainly a very conflict-ridden place, and that was their safe refuge. A lot of different people came together to organize a ceasefire in 2022. Schools recently only just restarted in 2023. So he called me again in last summer and said, I'm sure you heard about the war in Tigray. All of the things that were in the schools are gone. The schools that we were working with, the structures are still there, but literally furniture, 2 pallets of internet access equipment, all the books, everything's gone. The students are ready to come back, the teachers are ready to come back at a much lower enrollment and staffing. And we have figured out a way to do something for this school and some other schools, and could you help? And I said, well, I can help because our school was a digital learning school and we learned how to close achievement gaps where students have not had, in the case of Durham, have not had strong teaching for several years. And in his case, they've literally not been in school in 3 years. So we came together and we started on this project with a whole lot of very enthusiastic, young, very kind-hearted IT engineers in RTP and Northern Virginia and Seattle, where there are IT grants all over the world. And he's going to tell you that story. So Dr. Soloman.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you, Pamela, for kind words. And thank you for having me to share my story. Again, I'm really a Raleigh before I became a drama. I went to NC State for, master's and PhD, well, taught at NC State for 2 years after I moved to NCTU. So I lived for 7 years, near border place in from this college area. So writing also my home. But to go on about the sad stories about the war in Tigray, the main issue of the war was Tigray is actually the core of Ethiopia. That's the beginning of Ethiopia, where they had the leadership, where Christianity was introduced about 300 years, 340 AD. Islam came into being in Tigray, and where the Judaism, Islam, and Christianity lived in harmony for almost over 1,000 years. What Tigray was its kind of autonomous identity, and it wanted the other regions to have their autonomous identity also. But the new prime minister says, no, everybody has to think in one part and squash it. And that caused about 1 million people and all other things. But to make the story short, about a year ago, they declared peace with the central government. And for 3-4 years after COVID, there was no school for the students. Now students are coming back, but everything they had was destroyed. So again, with some of my former students, actually, I have wrote the department now. I've started to say, what can we do from this side? And we found this technology, which I will talk about. And I've started the pilot project already 2 schools furnished with those. And we are seeing some of the benefits and the research component is being sold. Yeah.
The other way.
Okay, so yeah, we went through that. So we formed a sort of an informal kind of gathering on TELU, technology enhanced learning for the uneducated, undereducated rather. And this side. So we have identified, well,
the problem is there, so we don't even need to spend a lot of time identifying it. How can we help the students coming back and the teachers coming back and the community at large? And ourselves in general, because Ethiopia is a big country, it was really destabilized. Over 120 million people going across the sea, across to the other parts of Africa, across to Europe, it would be chaos. So one way to keep the people at home is to give them hope. And hope comes through education for the teacher. So if we can strengthen the education, not only we are helping them, we are helping ourselves here, stable, have a peaceful world. Right now, this is the reality. That's how students are going to school. And that's their school. Those 3 are in school, and look at the whiteboard, blackboard, whatever it is, and the teacher sitting there. So that's actually what is happening right now after all the devastation of the situation. So what we did was we got together and we identified a technology called Rachel, remote access community hotspot learning, it's called that. And that technology has a Wi-Fi by itself, but it's mobile. It doesn't need any Wi-Fi, so people can log in. Up to 50 clients can log into it and access all the materials that is in there. And it's loaded with all kinds of curriculum, including the Ethiopian curriculum. I think these are one of the schools that we sponsor, and they already set it up, and those are our machines. So back in, going back from the other students, and now we want them to be at least in this kind of thing. This is the first delivery of the Rachel, and one of our committee member was already there helping deliver those and giving this training on how to operate. Here is the organization, World Possible, the community access. So what does it do? Coming down, this is a powerful tool. It is being used everywhere in the world. Nearly 60 million people have used it. It's a very new technology. It's only 9 years old, by the way. But it is being used in over 53 countries. Where there's no access, in Africa, in Kenya, Tanzania, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Guatemala, and all that. It's being used in Paris. Let me see. So, come back. Okay. Okay, let's see. Go back up.
Well, they're looking for that, there's a map of all the placements around the world. I just thought it was worth noting that this technology was developed in City. Either here in San Jose, so it was spun off into a nonprofit called World Possible, which makes them available for a limited fee to all the nonprofits and schools around the world who want to use this technology. And to put it in even simpler layman's terms, the Rachel is a Wi-Fi server. If you go to some place that does have internet, in Ethiopia, it's the hospitals and the universities, you download what you want on it. So in this case, it has all different kinds of digital learning tools, the T-grade curriculum, and a full component of Khan Academy, which I'm a big fan of. We used it in our school. And then you take the little mobile unit and you put it in a school, and it will distribute all of that information. It's not live connected to the internet, but it is a sort of an intermediary. So it's a great way to get online material to places that don't have access. It's very similar. They got them set up pretty sort of.
Okay.
Some of the countries around Ethiopia are really strongly invested in this to get internet service to rural areas.
Yeah, so actually the Rotary clubs in some areas are also involved, right there, it's a Rotary club, connections, bottom left. Yeah, right there, and they are working with, already Kenya, Tanzania, Guatemala, and Namibia. And we are hoping, this Rotary club and others will also adopt, particularly Ethiopia, version of it. I mean, that is really a game changer, the technology, especially, they don't have to wait for, infrastructure, Wi-Fi, or other technology, and, that is, all the way with the transportation from one classroom, we got about 40, what we call the, Chromebooks, what the refurbished Chromebooks, what the high schoolers and elementary schoolers here use, and refurbish them. We buy it for about $60, $70 each. So we supply one retail and 40 Chromebooks for each high school. And I just had a report from one of the schools the other day, and we just cannot, I mean, there are lines waiting for students to use it, and they will only allow them to spend about 2 hours. And then every 2 hours, somebody has to use it, just like a library card. And there are already lines waiting for those. So what our plan is, there are over 216 high schools in all over the country. And at least for those high schoolers, when they take the final exams, the national exams, sort of like SAT. But that is more, if you want to go to college, you have to pass. So at least we will give them access to those high schoolers. And there are 260 at a cost of between $4,000 to $5,000 for the Rachel and 40 points is what we're doing. Hopefully by the end of summer, we will have 10 schools sponsored. We already have 2 schools, 10 more schools for. So I think that's pretty much the story. And thank you for listening. And thank you for your help.
Yes, accomplishments. We've got sort of what stage we're in now is here. One thing that I'm really keen on is that we not just put the students in front of the material and say, you know how to learn this, because our experience out at Eastern Chicago High School is a lot of them don't. And so there's a lot that teachers can learn about how to make that learning situation much more effective and really close a learning gap. So that's an important piece that's coming up. Like Dr. Soloman said, we're looking, well, we have a list of 10 schools, and we're going to begin with asking them. The first 2 schools sent us their whole programming plan, proves that they were able to build out the lab space, get it wired and secure, and a schedule of how to get the kids in at least 2 hours for the class. Steering.
John is,
So sorry. Yeah, also, a strong partner in our work is Michael Bowl of the team? Yeah, there's a major university there. Its acronym is literally MIT because it's the major, that happens to be how it spells out, but in their world, it is very equivalent to MIT. It's the strongest science and technology school in the country. And they have partnered with us, and they have their computer science department has been supporting pretty low level support from those who work with professors and PhDs in computer science, but they're helping the schools implement the technical side. But they're also doing a kind of research observational study so that we'll have very approved data after this fact. And so we're expecting to get that this winter. And then we are gonna move right into forming phase 2. Now, Dr. Solomon looks like an unassuming person, but apparently he's a very high-rolling person. And he has relationships with everybody in the world who's from or been to Tigray. And he's very close with the Bureau of Education folks. So kind of our sustainability plan is that we will do maybe another phase of schools or maybe 3 phases, we'll see. But he's already reached out to the Bureau of Education and then we'll start talking with them about, can you do this? Can you sort of take this over and implement this statewide so that they can solve the problems? Because the kids have way too many gaps in learning. So that's kind of the path that we're on. Questions, please.
Starlink is an option for bringing actual.
It is not currently allowed in Ethiopia. Yeah, Starlink, Elon Musk's thing to bring internet access to the whole world.
It would have been ideal. But especially the drive, it's still the enemy, sort of, makes sense. They haven't really built the total trust yet, but I don't think they're going back and forth because they might. So it will take a little time. So again, actually, she read the partnership building in our from this side. Also about the Tigray University Association. They are the ones who bought our first 2 sets in the state of money, and then they actually transported it for us. They facilitated everything. And we will work with them to see if they can supply us more. In the Bureau of Education in the Raleigh University, which is one of the largest, about 30,000 students that they speak. And all the professors, especially with the education, the school of education, is in it. They are in the researching, observation, and stuff like that. So the Bureau of Education also has to be there because it's the public schools that we are involved with, the Bureau of Education cannot even physical again, one of my 40 years.
So I hear you say that students are lined up and it's like the 2-hour increments of students coming and using the computers. What does that look like for the teachers and staff? Is it like someone logs on to a computer and they are dialed in, or how is that not disruptive? Like, what does a day look like for school?
Yeah, okay, so, well, there are several models. There are other communities in Canada, for example. What they did was they bought a couple of rentals to equip 2 schools. And instead of buying 40 Chromebooks for each, they bought projectors and things so that each classroom, each teacher can just access to the computer and they will do the Rachel and do the lecture. Our model is, in the classroom, they will be about 40 of them, and the students will be there because it's a math class today. The teacher will go in and access, and the students will access the math class. So they will do with the lecture and demonstration before that stuff to support. After hours or weekends is when the students are lined up. Yeah, and then after hours, like on Saturday, they open it for what, 6-7 hours. So this time Monday to get access for Saturday. And it's first come, first serve, and it's only 2 hours. And there is a research actually in one of the African countries, over 4 months period, students have access for 32 hours, which translates to what? 8 hours a week. There English, testing and writing improved by 63%. So this is very, very, it's on the website. So I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Pamela, and
Can I say,
oh, of course.
maybe two more things. One more thing I wanted, that I'm really thrilled with, is we're talking with, professors at Raleigh University, and talking about what are the grants and who are we, who am I, how might that all come together. I said, well, it's my understanding you need to find a Rotary Club there that would partner as we begin to, look for partners here. And so they started their own Rotary Club out of my university, and, they have about 25 members. And they're just like go-getters. It's unbelievable. And the other thing that I want to say is we're having a video made of the students and testimonials, who's been doing what for conference he's going to in July. So I'll hopefully be able to put that and share that at the fall.
Thank you, Pamela. Another round of applause. I don't know if you've broadly branded stuff yet, so here is my reader, Dr. Solomon. Thank you so much for joining us today. So another round of applause for them, and then we can all stand. Right, and if you have a few moments, after Bella's running up here very quickly for group photo, would be great. So repeat after me the four-way test. And the things we think, say, and do, is it the truth? Is it fair?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
You know, sure.